Welcome to our continuing series, Questions and Answers for a World in Crisis. Today, the body, part 3. From the Mother. And this is the key to the endeavor which Sri Aurobindo expects of us, the reason for its existence. For if you draw from your body all the possibilities it contains, if you train it by known, normal scientific methods, make of it an instrument as perfect as possible, when the supramental truth manifests in that body, it will become forthwith, without the necessity of centuries of preparation, a marvelous instrument of expression for the spirit. We are at a moment of transition in the history of the earth. It is merely a moment in eternal time, but this moment is long compared to human life. Matter is changing in order to prepare itself for the new manifestation. But the human body is not plastic enough and offers resistance. This is why the number of incomprehensible disorders and even diseases is increasing and becoming a problem for medical science. The remedy lies in union with the divine forces that are at work, and a receptivity full of trust and peace, which makes the task easier. The prayer of the cells in the body. Now that, by the effect of the grace, we are slowly emerging out of inconscience and waking to a conscious life, an ardent prayer rises in us for more light, more consciousness. O Supreme Lord of the universe, we implore Thee, give us the strength and the beauty, the harmonious perfection needed to be Thy divine instrument upon earth. Mother continues, but since it is happening in one body, it can happen in all bodies. I am not made of something different from the others. The difference is in the consciousness, that is all. It is made exactly of the same thing, with the same things. I eat the same things, and it was made in the same way, absolutely. And it was as stupid, as obscure, as unconscious, as obstinate as all the bodies of the world. At times, when one goes out of the body follows the part which goes out. Mother, you are speaking of a somnambulist? But that is quite another thing. This means that the part which goes out, whether a part of the mind or a part of the vital, is so strongly attached to the body, or rather, that the body is so attached to this part, that when this part decides to do something, the body follows it automatically. In your inner being, you decide to do a certain thing, and your body is so closely tied to your inner being that without thinking of it, without wanting to do so, without making any effort, it follows and does the same thing. Note that in this matter, the physical body has capacities it would not have in the ordinary waking condition. For instance, it is well known that one can walk in dangerous places where one would find it rather difficult to walk in the waking state. The body follows the consciousness of the inner being, and its own consciousness is asleep, for the body has a consciousness. All the parts of the being, including the most material, have an independent consciousness. Hence, when you go to sleep dead tired, when your physical body needs rest, absolutely, your physical consciousness sleeps, while the consciousness of your subtle physical body, or your vital, or of your mind, does not sleep. It continues its activity. But your physical consciousness is separated from the body. It is asleep in a state of unconsciousness. And then the part which does not sleep, which is active, uses the body without the physical consciousness as intermediary and makes it do things directly. That is how one becomes a somnambulist. According to my experience, the waking consciousness goes to sleep for some reason or other, usually due to fatigue, but the inner being is awake, and the body is so tied to it that it follows it automatically. That is why you do fantastic things, because you do not see them physically, you see them in a different way. The body is formed by a man and a woman who become the father and mother. And they are the people who do not have even the means to ask the being they are about to bring upon earth whether it liked to come or whether it was in accord with their destiny. It is upon such a body formed by them that they impose, by the force of necessity, an atavism, an environment, and later on, an education which will be almost always obstacles in his future growth. Therefore, I have said here, and say it over again, I thought I was clear, that it is a matter of physical parents and physical body, nothing else, and that the soul which incarnates, whether it is growing or fully grown, has to struggle against the circumstances imposed upon it by the animal birth, struggle to find its true way, and find back again its own full self. That is all. Question to the mother. The formation of the body depends wholly upon a man and a woman. But is the soul that manifests in the child, in the body that is forming, obliged to manifest in that body? Mother, you mean whether the soul can choose between different bodies? Yes. Of course. It is very exceptional. In spite of everything, in this formidable human mass, for a conscious soul to take a body according to its will. It is a very rare fact. I have already told you that when a soul is conscious, fully formed, and wants to take a body, generally it seeks from its psychic domain to see a corresponding psychic light somewhere upon the earth. Also, during its previous incarnation, before it passed away, before it left the earthly atmosphere, the soul, as the result of the experience it has had in the life that has terminated, generally chooses, more or less, not in all details, but on the whole, the conditions of its future life. But these are exceptional cases. For ourselves, it may be, we might speak of this. But for the majority, the vast majority of human beings, even among those who are educated, the question does not arise at all. What comes is a psychic being in formation, more or less formed. And here there are all the stages of formation, from the spark becoming a little light up to the fully formed being, and that extends over thousands of years. This ascent of the soul to become a conscious being, having its own will, capable of deciding the choice of its life, takes thousands of years. So you want to speak of a soul that would say, "No, I refuse this body, I am going to look for another." I do not say that it is impossible. Everything is possible. In fact, there are cases of stillborn children. It means there was no soul to incarnate in them. But that may be for other reasons also. For reasons of malformation only, one cannot say. I do not say that the thing is impossible, but generally when a conscious and free soul chooses to take a body again on earth, even before the birth, it works upon that body. It has therefore no reason for not accepting the inconveniences that may be due to the ignorance of the parents, for it has chosen the place because of a reason that is not a reason of ignorance. It has seen a light there. It may be simply the light of a possibility, but there was a light, and it is for that it came there. So it is all right to say, no, it does not please me. But where could it go to choose something else that might please it? It may be done. I do not say that it is impossible, but it does not happen very often. For when the soul looks down from the psychic domain upon earth and chooses the place of its next birth, it chooses with enough discrimination and is not likely to make a gross blunder. It happens also that a soul takes up a body because it has already started on the way. The starting may be due to many reasons. For children who die very young, in a few days or weeks, the reason may be something like that. It is said also that the soul needed just a little experience to terminate its formation. So it had a life of a few weeks and then departed. All is possible. To tell the history of the soul, it would need as many stories as are needed to tell the history of man. So to decide arbitrarily, it is like this and it is not like that, this happens and that does not happen, is childishness. Everything can happen. There are cases, some more frequent than others. You can generalize, but you can never say, this is not possible, and it is always like this or always like that. Things do not happen in this way. But in any case, yes, in any case, even in the best of cases, even when the soul comes consciously, even when it has consciously taken part in the formation of the physical body, so long as the body is formed in the usual animal way, you cannot prevent the soul from having to struggle and correct all the things that come from this human animality. Note, once again we encourage you to read more about Mother's words on the body, for there are hundreds and hundreds of pages to research. We will conclude this series with part 4, again with Mother's words.